to the Pop Culture Podcast with your host, Rob! All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BCP with the good brother Kenny Pete flying co-pilot today. What's up, good brother? How you doing over there, Kenny?
I'm doing tremendous. Thanks for having me, Rob.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one, man. We've been stoked for this one for a while. And again, with Father's Day right around the corner, too. This is perfect. Excited for this one, guys. And Kenny, like I said, I know you're a big fan of this duo. Ladies and gents, it's time to usher in the Dadditude Era here on the BCP. Please welcome to the show former NYCW tag champs. These guys are no strangers to gold around their waists. Of course, that's Radley Belmont and Wade Kreuger, the Stepdads. Gentlemen, what's up? Thanks for a few minutes.
Hello. No problem. I appreciate you implying that the gold actually fits around my waist.
We still have belts. Luckily, even during the quarantine, we have the TIW tag team titles sitting on our desks, so it's all going well.
And I have a black one that holds my pants up.
Yeah, there you go.
Even better. Guys, thank you so much for a few minutes, especially in such a crazy time right now. It's affecting everybody. You know, I have a lot of friends on the indie wrestling scene, and it's hitting home for everybody. This is affecting everyone. Real quick, how are you guys holding up over there? How's everyone doing? Everyone healthy and safe?
Yeah, I think I had whatever, like, before the coronavirus, before it was even a thing, like in January.
I don't think so.
I had the worst cough I ever had. I think if we check the antibodies, we'd see that it's in there. But either way, I feel like we're good now. Getting back to work slowly for me. You know, you never stop.
Yeah, see, I still work 40 hours a week, and so not much work-wise has changed for me, but I've definitely lost a lot of weight recently, and that's actually a good thing. So I'm feeling better than I have in many years. Yeah.
That's actually good to hear. And you were speaking about that. So I do follow you guys on social media. And did you kind of use this quarantine, Radley, time to, put in the work and lose the weight? Like, what made you kind of want to set these goals for yourself right now?
For me, it was I used to work out all the time, and I wasn't working out for bulk. I was working out for to be lean, like I don't know, like Bruce Lee kind of lean as opposed to Arnold Schwarzenegger. But once I started wrestling, I didn't want to get hurt, essentially, or wrestle hurt or something. If I work out, I might hurt myself. Sometimes I used to take my workouts a little too far sometimes. So after a while, I stopped working out as much, and then a little bit became none, and then suddenly, dad bod. That worked out real well. That worked out real well for the gimmick, but
yeah.
Wade and I have always been proprietors of do the drives, get your work in, advertise where you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the thing that's killed is I was actually finally getting into a rhythm at the actual gym, and now there's no gym. So my only goal during the quarantine has just been not to gain any more weight. I mean, I really can't. I don't have much at home to work out with. I'm not a big cardio guy. So it's just I'm waiting for the gym to reopen to get. I've never been amped to get back in the gym before. It's a weird feeling, but I'm excited for that.
Yeah. And you cook your own food and stuff, so you got some healthy food going on.
Yeah.
For me, I haven't had a gym membership in quite a while, so I might have to join in on you with that soon. But so we've been doing all right. We've been continuing to advertise. We post pictures 4 times a day still on our Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, and all those little nagging injuries that pick up over time have kind of gone away, which is nice.
Yeah, I didn't make it public, but I had a little bit of an ankle injury that I was working through, and that's completely gone now.
Oh, wow.
Little things like that. I think we're gonna be. I mean, we're gonna have a ring rust, but other than that, we're gonna be ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good to hear, guys. It sounds like you guys are putting in the work. Sounds like everyone's healthy, so that's great to hear. Now, not to be cliche here, but let's start at the beginning. Let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to the Stepdads origin story. Was there a toxic waste spill, and you guys suddenly became the Stepdads persona and wrestling tag team? How did this all really start for you guys?
We were bitten by radioactive stepfathers in the night, Friday the 13th, let me tell you.
Which also happened to be Father's Day somehow.
That's right.
So it's only on Sundays.
I love it.
And the funny thing, the Stepdads name exists before pro. It exists back into backyard wrestling when we used to backyard wrestle, because we actually knew each other. We used to backyard wrestle together.
Wow.
but we weren't the Stepdads in the yard. It was me and a different guy, and it was just a name. It was just a name to be funny. It was actually the name of my fantasy football team, and then I took it for wrestling because I thought it was a cocky name. Because the reason we were the Stepdads is because we beat you and you hate us. And then we just decided when we went pro, we were both like not really enjoying what we were doing. Separately.
Yeah, we started pro a little bit separately. I think 10 months apart, something like that. So I had a completely different gimmick based on my time in Las Vegas. You were...
I was the Kodiak there. I was like a bruiser from Alaska. We both just weren't really enjoying... We didn't feel it maximized what we could do.
And we love tag team wrestling. That's like... We love tag team wrestling.
So we adopted the gimmick that I had in the yard and just took it up a notch, where before it was just funny. Now it was full on... We were dads. Like, we were Stepdads from, like, a sitcom, and then we just started trying it out in different places that would let us try it, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, and it allowed us to do so many different things. Spanks and old corny,
Yeah.
you know.
It let us hide the fact that we weren't that good at wrestling with comedy.
Yeah.
No, it's great, and I got to see you guys. Man, I was sometime last year here in Bradley Beach, New Jersey area. I don't even think it was with a legit indie company. I think they're like the town just kind of put on a show. They had a band play in the ring.
What a story we have for you!
Oh, really?
I actually ran that show.
Wait, what's this?
I was in charge of that show. I ran that show.
He was
really?
the booker of the show.
Yeah.
So but there was no like banner that it was
just,
under.
Yeah, we just called it pop-up party wrestling, which is like
Yes.
overarching name that a friend of ours has used for like random pop-up shows, so we adopted it for the show. But yeah, it was me and I work within my shoot job. One of the guys I work with was putting together that thing. He owns a restaurant over in Bradley Beach, and he was like, I want to get wrestling for this Latin Day, and he asked me if I would book a show and put together like a couple matches, and that was what happened.
No, that was a lot of fun.
A friend of mine
Go ahead, I'm
A friend
sorry.
of mine went to that show, loved the show, thought it was super fun, and sent pictures of, who is it, The Whisper,
Yes.
who we've known from going to Chikara shows, and friend of the show, Nick Stapp, a.k.a. or FKA, the Abominable CPA.
Yeah.
And she lost it. She was like, oh my God, CPA is here. This is crazy. Like, I walked over here, you know, so that
it was crazy. That show kind of just like, I had originally, The Whisper was on that show because we used to backyard wrestle with The Whisper too. We have a long sequence of connecting.
We've known him for 7 or 8 years at least.
Yeah, so we booked him because we were like, we want to wrestle you, we want to wrestle Matt DeMorris, who was his tag partner in that match. And then other names just kind of fell into place. Like, guys canceled on me last minute, and then I hit up CPA because I love CPA, and I was like, hey man, if you're not doing it this day, if you wanted to come do this show. And then he brought in MD Young, and it just like, it became a way better show than it had any right to be.
It was like every person that we got an even cooler person to show up.
Yeah.
Take their place.
Well, that's great. That's kind of how you want it, you know. And technically, you know, in your traditional advertised show situation, you know, when Paul E goes to the ring and says Sabu's not going to be here, you know, you got to put somebody else out there to make sure that people are still getting a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Sabu's never there, so you always have to back up one.
That's right. That's right. Sabu is not here. It's like the old Chikara gimmick where they would pull a name out of the hat, and then the referee runs back to the gate. It's like, Sabu is not here.
One of my favorite times they ever did that was they just kept pulling out different Al Snow gimmicks while he was standing in the ring.
Oh, that's so good.
And they were like pulling Leaf Cassidy and Shinobi, I think, and he was just standing there like threatening Loud Noxious with murder if he kept pulling different Bryce with murder.
One time they picked Colt Cabana, and he actually was there because he just left WB.
Yep. Good times.
Oh, man. That was, though, a really, really fun show in Bradley Beach. I appreciate you guys putting that together. The kids, you know, a lot of the kids there, you know, some unfamiliar with wrestling, really had a good time. So that was a great time all around.
We tried to put together, like, a different... Every match was kind of different. Like, the first match had a lot of comedy. It was a 4-way with a lot of comedy. The first guy we sent out was Sam Adams, because we knew he's so loud that he would gain any attention for people to come over. And he immediately comes out and just starts, like, running down the crowd in Spanish, like, super loud and obnoxious. And I was like, this is going to immediately draw people in.
Like, so many people doing so many different things. Having him come out immediately brought all the attention to that ring.
Yeah, and then we had the regular tag match, and then we put together, the main was the MV and Everett Cross, and, like, a brawl that went on the grass, and we wanted to have a little bit for everybody who maybe hadn't seen anything before. Hopefully we'll be doing it again this year. The plan was to do it again this year, but who knows if that'll happen.
All right, well, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's crazy times, but we really appreciated you guys putting that together. Now, you guys have mentioned, in the podcast here, we did mention briefly Al Snow, Sabu, little ECW. Who were kind of your guys' favorites growing up, or maybe some inspiration?
It's funny, like, the guys I loved watching growing up are guys that I am not anything like in the ring.
Yeah.
And the guys that I take inspiration from are guys that I saw way later on, like, the indies, like Brody Lee and Mike Knox. That's a weird one that I take inspiration from. But
I've never heard this one.
I love Mike Knox.
I know that.
Weird as he was. And then, like, a lot of Chikara stuff, a lot of Jersey All-Pro stuff I saw when I was in, like, high school and college that really I loved. Like, they were doing stuff that I haven't seen since and I had never seen before. And then there's, like, I loved, like, I'm a big mark for Buff Bagwell. I don't know why.
He's the stuff, that's why. You can't get enough.
Just like I always felt like he had so much charisma for someone who was, like, he had the most false image of his ability. But he believed it, and I feel like that's something I take for myself.
That's what wrestling's all about. It's like, believe it that much, it might actually be true.
Yeah, no one believes in himself more than Buff Bagwell, and he was not good. And
it was all right.
I feel the same way.
But listen, well, for me, I grew up completely different. I grew up old school NWA in the 80s, WCW. I didn't watch any WWF other than when I was very young. I don't even remember it. But I didn't watch until the Attitude Era was already over. I was all WCW through and through. So for me, it's like super 80s.
I thought you were going to say Super Cal. Yeah, I love Super Cal as well. Yeah,
Super Cal. I like Super Cal, but I'm not going to get any inspiration from that.
That's a shame.
But, classic Ric Flair and Michael Hayes, that kind of deal. Later on, when I got into the independent scene as a fan, it was like the Larry Sweeneys and just anybody that exuberates that throwback style, but with a lot of charisma, a lot of panache, I absolutely love that stuff.
Yeah, and you've seen, I have, like, the weirdest, like, my favorite, like, indie guys, I loved, like, Jimmy Rave in ROH. I loved, like, Ben Gerard in Chikara. Guys who just, like, they could make you hate them just with, like, a look. And then my favorite guys in pro were, like, all technical guys. Like, I loved Benoit and Brett, and, like, I'm nothing like that in the ring. But, like, I loved watching those guys.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Goldberg, and that's the farthest from anything I could ever be. So, it is what it is.
That's super interesting. Guys, I'm going to throw it over to the co-host with the most right here, Kenny Pete. I know you got some questions for them, Kenny. What do you got, bro?
Well, I had saw you guys on the Pizza Party Wrestling show last year for Mania Weekend, which was a four-way between you guys, the Atlantic City Scoundrels of Dominic Truex and Leo Zucco, the East Coast Bastard Crew of Logan Black and Jeremy Leary, and the Ugly Ducklings, Lance Lude and Rob Killjoy. What was your whole experience in that match?
It was... putting it together was very stressful because it's just so many different teams with different ideas.
Gotcha.
The Atlantic City Scoundrels are down to do whatever,
and they will do whatever.
They're seated. Like, they'll just be like, "Yep, absolutely."
Yeah. We wrestled them multiple times.
Yeah, the first time we wrestled them, Big Dom gave me a jackknife powerbomb. Like, the dude is insane.
Wow.
Yeah, and like a legit one. Like, it wasn't like I was up there. It was horrifying.
He chokeslammed me, and I think as he lifted me, he lost grip a little bit, so I was actually higher than his hand, and then just slammed me so hard that I actually bounced and rolled out.
Yes. They're definitely a couple of big boys throwing balls around.
Bastard crew are very simple and effective, and they're very streamlined, and they know what they do, and they know how to get in and hit their stuff where in a smart way. And then there's the ducklings. And
I love the ducklings.
I love the ducklings. They are all over the place. They have so many ideas. They're all intricate. They're all detailed. They love to do everything in the playbook and then come up with new plays on the fly. That match was supposed to be like 12 minutes. I think it went like 25. They're like, at one point the ref was like looking at us and he was like, "Guys, take it home." And we're like, "You got to talk to the Ducks, man." There's like 6 or 7 more minutes in this match, and I can't tell them to stop. It's their belts.
So you watched the match.
Right, yeah, that's right. They were the Fest wrestling champions at the time. That's right.
We can't call an audible on the fly and just end it.
Because when we got there, we weren't sure who was going to win. The Ducks wanted us to go over, but they got picked. So we ended up saying, we're like, "Oh, let's put your Fest belts on the line. That'd be cool because they're from Florida. Let's have these Florida belts in New Jersey. That'd be really cool." So then we have the match, and we're like, "Well, we can't just pin somebody because we can't win the Fest tag team belts. The Ducks have to win." So it went the way it went, and we just kept going and going and going.
The one vivid memory I have from that match is me and Jeremy Leary going back and forth. I hit the superplex off the top on Leary onto the pineapple pizza.
That was one of the big heat spots of the show where he pulls a pizza because it's Pizza Party Wrestling, and then he goes under the ring to grab a can of pineapple as if it's like a bag of thumbtacks. And for the big heat in the whole match, he takes the can of pineapple and pours it on to the pizza in the middle of the ring. So the whole place is booing Jeremy Leary out of the building because of pouring pineapple on pizza. Please continue.
Well, yeah. So that was supposed to be like right before that was like a big. We call it a waterfall of like everyone hitting a big move. So everybody's down, and it ends with the two of us. And I hit the superplex, and it takes us both out. And everyone's on the outside. And the ref comes over, and he's like, "Okay, guys, let's go to the end." And I'm like, "Oh God, there's at least like 15 more things we have planned." And I'm like, "You got to go talk to somebody else." So that was my one lasting image of just like terrified fright of like I'm looking at the ceiling. The ceiling's looking back at me because it's a mirror on the roof there, and I'm like, this is poor. This is going poorly. The match ended up great. It just when you wrestle the Ugly Ducklings, you're going to go long.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. My lasting moment is pretty much the same thing. I took the catapult, the launch pad McQuack, and they pinned me. Yes. And as I'm laying there, I'm looking at the mirror above, and I have that moment where it's like, well, here's where I am. How did I get here? But we always knew what we were in for. I don't think everyone else knew.
Funny story about the Ugly Ducklings. We wrestled them again in New York Championship Wrestling.
We had the match of the year according to the fans fan vote.
And it was planned to go like 15, and we knew the way it was planned that it was going to go long. It's just like they're the only team we ever go long with.
But we're fine with that.
And it's like I said, it was match of the year, but like we like to keep to the times. It's respectful. The match is starting, and the match starts with an impromptu dance-off.
Yeah, I just decided to do the worm and stuff.
So there's this like 6 to 7 minute dance-off before the match even officially starts, and then the bell rings. And I'm like, we are halfway through our time, and the match has just started.
And the Ducks
just look up at the promoter on a catwalk above us, and Rob Killjoy just goes, "We're going over.
We're going long." And he just gives us a thumbs up, and we're like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, so the promoter gave us a thumbs up to go long in the match.
And from entrance to exit, it went 33 minutes.
With a planned 12.
And we won match of the year and got nice little trophies for it.
A trophy.
Oh, yes, that's right. One for each team. Because they didn't expect it to be a tag team match. They thought it would be a singles match. So they only made one trophy for each person.
Yeah, so I don't have a trophy, but
sorry.
You guys can share.
There you go.
Yeah. We'll just cut it in half.
Lend a month after month. Because I would have one of those things you had to do in the match, the classic Terry Funk ladder spot where Wade puts Randy on his shoulder and then Randy uses Randy's legs as the little wheel wheel around spin spot.
Team with Randy Orton. When did that happen?
So yeah, that spot we came up with that that day. I think on the way there.
Yeah, because I always do the sitting down on the newspaper, and we're always trying to think of more. We like to add and add and add.
So I was like, with all these guys, it'd be really funny if I picked Rad up and just started spinning him, and like he was oblivious to the fact that people were trying to like break up his newspaper read, and
a really interesting read.
I was going to say, what section of the paper was that? Was it financials or the front page news?
I needed to know how that Dow was doing.
It was actually we usually have either financial or classifieds, just in case, looking for jobs for the kids.
Absolutely. Well, we have all the jobs. Don't worry, it's okay. So.
Yeah, we job enough.
Wow. Love it, guys. Real quick, I see a lot of your posts, Radley, on social media engaging the internet wrestling community. I think it's really cool, talking about the indie scene or tag team wrestling. What are your guys' kind of thoughts on the state of tag team wrestling right now? Who's doing it right? Who, not to knock anyone, who's doing it wrong? What are your kind of thoughts on tag team wrestling right now overall?
Oh, who you want to knock today? Okay.
I really love what AEW is doing with not just tag teams but factions. It's like everybody is in there's groups of 3 everywhere, and I feel like that's a really good setup for something big to happen at any point. There's always everyone has backup. Everyone, it doesn't feel like anyone is outnumbering anyone. It doesn't feel like the NWO where it's everybody and then everybody else.
It also helps with actual tag team matches. You can mix up the teams between 3 people.
Yeah, it's a very. I think they're having a very there are so many tag options over there because every team is actually 3 guys at least. So there are so many different tag teams you could do, and they're all legit tag teams, as opposed to, there's nothing that bothers me more than when the tag champions in a bed are 2 singles guys put together, because it buries the whole tag division.
Most of the time, yeah.
Like if you have Shawn Michaels and Cena are the tag champions, yeah, they're 2 of the best guys there, but it says that 2 guys who have never tagged before are better than these guys whose whole job is chemistry and working together, and it feels wrong.
Right. So AEW gives us a lot of hope for as we climb the ladder, we might get to a point where just being a tag team, which is what we want. We're not doing this just to cover each other's butts and grow as rookies. We actually want to be a tag team for the long haul. That's the whole point.
So many people look at tag teams and they're like, who's going to be the breakout star?
Yeah.
Newsflash, we're both the Jannetty on this team.
Exactly. Hashtag Jannetty.
So, we're just going to ride it out.
That's right.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's the quote right there.
That's great. We're the new Mulkeys. We're going to be your developmental tag team or whatever.
Yeah. Hashtag Jannetty.
Yeah. We'll be the jobber tag team to the stars anytime. But even Limitless Wrestling does not focus on tag team wrestling, but the teams they bring in are absolute quality. I'll also say that. Limitless Wrestling in Maine.
Yeah, and they've built up one of their biggest face teams is the Maine State Posse.
Yeah.
And they only really tag, and there's no belts or anything, but they're when they come out, the crowd is louder for them than just about anybody else, even though they're just a tag team. They're not in the running for the belts or anything.
Right. And Beyond is also the same way. They bring in 4 tag teams at a time and kind of cycle them out, but when their tag teams are there, they give the tag teams the opportunity to shine, and not having a belt helps with that in their case, because every tag team can be seen as equal, which is really awesome. Nobody seems to be the odd man out. They're not the jobber team here,
Yeah, and obviously Chikara has done tag team wrestling well for a long time. Although right now it's not really their focus. They're kind of setting up something else.
Yeah.
So right now it's not Chikara, but usually they are a beacon of light for tag team wrestling. But right now they're kind of setting up different things. So
yeah, clearly we can go on forever. But
That's great. So what's the? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, who would be of an independent tag team out there now, who would be each of your favorite team to want to wrestle?
Same question.
Goal wise.
Are you talking about teams we haven't wrestled yet? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, who's a team on the indie scene out there now that you would love to wrestle?
I would like to wrestle the Besties in the World. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're a Midwest tag team that wrestles with the
Big and Matt Fishett.
Yeah, they are an excellent team. They have a lot of charisma, and I think we would have a lot of fun with them. That would be a really good team to work with. Trying to think of another one just off the top of my head.
A team I'd really like to work, like not a team, just a team that I'd like to work because I like what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like a super well-known team. Is we'll give them a little shout out. Oreo Speedwagon.
Oh yeah.
Xavier Faraday and Josh Wells. They're both Chikara guys, former Crucible Chikara guys, but they're guys that we've known.
2/3 of Forged.
Yes. We've known them. We've known Xavier Faraday for a while, so I think that would be a really fun matchup. I like those guys a lot. It's tough because like there's a lot of guys I want to wrestle that we've wrestled before.
Yeah.
So I'm having it's hard to think of guys off the top of my head.
Well,
Spirit Squad. How about that?
Spirit Squad. 3 count.
Yeah, 3 count. That's a dream right there.
Rock and Roll Express.
Is Demolition still wrestling? I'll wrestle Demolition.
I mean, there's guys that like I think are incredible that I just don't like. That aren't dream matches because I don't think we can keep up with them. Like, I love. They're not LAX anymore, but
Santana and Ortiz.
yeah,
Santana
Santana.
and Ortiz are incredible.
Formerly UFO.
I think they're like the best. They might be the best tag team in the world right now.
Yeah, they're excellent. Private Party would have been awesome.
Love
Yeah.
that.
If Massage MV was still a tag team, I would absolutely want to wrestle them.
Yeah, I wanted to wrestle Whiskey Dick was a fun
Oh,
one.
yeah.
But, like, there's so many different like funny tag teams that I'd like to wrestle. It's just tags are tough.
Yeah.
Promoters don't seem to like to put together like random tag matches. Like you see so many like dream matches and showcase matches for singles guys because you're only bringing in one guy. It's a lot cheaper. I think that's the reasoning. You won't see a lot of like promoters. I feel like bringing in a random tag team to come wrestle their big tag team because it's more expensive.
I will tell you one dream match.
I
You know what it is? Do you know what it is?
Is it the Gymnasty Boys?
It's the Gymnasty Boys.
That would be classic. That would be.
I don't know why I forgot the Gymnasty Boys, but yeah, those guys are.
Oh my goodness, that's my number one. That's my number. Now that I remembered,
yeah,
that's my number one. I'll also give a shout out. I don't think it'll ever happen. I would absolutely be honored to wrestle the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah,
because that's my tag team. That's the tag team I grew up with, watching old NWA tapes. I do the Ricky to Robert for my hot tags sometimes. I absolutely love it. And we've been on a show with them before. We didn't wrestle them, but it was awesome just to watch them wrestle live. It's fantastic.
And they weren't even doing Canadian.
No, they weren't even doing Canadian Destroyers yet.
We got to get Jake Manning on the phone. Book that in the Carolinas somewhere.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we'll get the old stepdad station wagon down there. Dadmobile.
It's great to see you guys mention so many like comedic tag teams because classic Massage Envy, rest in peace, but they were hilarious to watch wrestle. And so I guess how you would sort of, I guess it kind of answers how if you would prefer wrestling another comedic act or a straight act so that you can do your comedy off of someone else doing the straight routine. Like, which one would you prefer?
We're actually fine with either, and we even enjoy when a team comes in super serious and we have to match their seriousness.
That's the thing. We've gotten, it's not very often, but we have gotten people say, "Oh, you're just a comedy tag team. We don't really have a spot for a comedy tag team on our show." Wow. And we have to explain that we've had street fights. We've had essentially hardcore matches. We've had very fast matches in the past, and it's because we want to show that we can be well rounded in that sense. We can have an entire match where we are the serious people.
Yeah, those would definitely end up on my end of the spectrum because I feel like we do get to do a lot of comedy regularly, but we get to have less serious matches, and a lot of times I'll turn around and be like, man, it'd be fun if we wrestled the Butcher and the Blade, or if we wrestled Guarini and Kevin Koo, and just guys who are gonna fuck our shit up, and we get to give it
straight murderers.
Yeah, I feel like that would be fun. Just to see as a test, see what the frig I'm made of. We've kind of hit a point where we're wrestling a lot of younger guys in the feds were in,
which is not a problem.
But like they're not going to give it to you because like they're first of all they're scared. They don't want to. They're nervous in the ring. But like I'd love to have those guys who just go in confident and just I walk across the ring and I get hit with a shot and I'm like, okay, I'm awake. Let's fucking do this and just like get you amped up and have that fight. Like it's. I don't love doing it all the time, but it's a fun change of pace to do.
I feel like we've had that when a couple of teams, like with the Ducks, we did a lot of fast-paced action, but we scrapped a little bit too, and it was a lot of fun because we tried our best to keep up with them, and the 2 times we wrestled them, I feel like we did.
Yeah.
And it helped us grow, and that's what we want. Like we have no problem wrestling rookies, and we're not the most experienced people in the world. We're 3-4 years in. But learning from veterans is really important to us, especially at this stage when there's so much opportunity with the NWA and their teams and a company like Limitless, Black Label Pro, anywhere on IWTV. MLW has amazing tag teams. I would love to wrestle many tag teams there, and the only way we're going to do this is get better.
Like, I'm nervous and excited for, like, that next time I'm in the ring and I look across and it's great to hear.
We were at a Pro Wrestling Magic show. And we were talking the whole week about how we were just kind of we felt like we were at a dead end with wrestling. We didn't know what we were doing. We are all about having a good time in wrestling. And when we're not having a good time, it doesn't mean we stop wrestling. It means something needs to change. So we're just thinking, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? We see a 4-way tag at Pro Wrestling Magic. So we thought if we just sit in the crowd and see things through a fan perspective again, maybe it'll inspire us. And that tag team match absolutely inspired us. And honestly, I couldn't even tell you who won the match. All we did after the show was talk about how hilarious Massage MV was. And I thought, I know you agree with me, Wade, that we figured at the end of the day, if all we remember is what those silly people did in that silly match, that's what we want. We want to be the guys that remember. Because you win or lose.
The other 2 teams in that match were serious teams, but what we remembered was the comedy part, even though they didn't win.
Yeah, and it didn't matter that they didn't win. They sold their merch and they got over, and that was our goal because we figured we're new. At that point, we were both 1 year in. You were a couple months in at the most.
Yeah.
And I figured we're going to lose a lot. So let's be the most memorable people we can possibly be.
And it's kind of funny at the time, it's like, since then, in the past couple of years, gimmicks have become hot again.
Yeah.
People like Alley Cat and Danhausen and Warhorse and Effie, they're all larger than life on Twitter characters.
Orange Cassidy, go back
even bigger.
More, yeah.
But like that wasn't like for the longest time. Indie guys were like they wear kick pads and they do cool stuff and they're like flippy, flashy dudes.
Yeah, everyone wanted to do strong style and kick each other in the face.
I feel like we're in an era of characters again.
Yeah. What's old is new.
It's great. It's great that VSK and the Oil Master Dorian Graves could show you guys the light.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. Very well said, guys. You kind of touch on this, talking about some of the television brands that we see every night. I usually ask wrestlers this in interviews. Obviously, we live in a different world right now. We're going to go back to what people are calling the new normal. I'll say this, so kind of pretend like everything's normal. Hypothetically, we had wrestling, every day of the week. Essentially, we have all these big names. Wrestling was arguably hotter than it's ever been. Arguably. What is the goal for the Stepdads moving forward right now?
Taking it a step at a time. I don't like to look too far ahead. Mm-hmm. Our next big goal is really just to keep expanding into new places, wrestling new people, getting better, learning from better wrestlers, and just kind of working up to the next step. Like if we're at Class A minor league ball, I'd like to make that jump to like Double A.
Yeah, we're very realistic when it comes to our careers. I know he doesn't. We don't like the idea of like, oh, whatever happens, happens. Like, I hate that answer for this question. Yeah. For us, it's more, what doors are open? What can we find?
Yeah, you make your own luck.
Yeah. And right now, obviously, everything is the way it is, but we are constantly trying to knock on doors. And I don't know where that's going to end up going. But if somebody opens that door, you best believe I'm going to go through it.
Yeah, for a while we kind of were coasting and just letting things happen because they were happening quicker than we were expecting them to. And then we kind of hit a point where it stagnated a little bit. And now, to take a word from my inspiration, DJ Khaled, now we just have to take the hinges off and put the hinges in the fuckboy's hands and, take that door down and go through it.
That's right. Another one.
That's not real. I don't really. He's just hilarious to me. He's like a living meme.
Yeah. But I mean, literally, if Evolve comes knocking, I'd love to go. But I wouldn't be like, oh, my goal is to go to Evolve because MLW might knock on that door. And they'll go, oh, he wants to go to Evolve, he's not coming here. I want to go anywhere that they'll open that door for me.
Yeah, ultimately, like, next step reasonable places, like, I'd love to do a Beyond, like, something up there. GCW, obviously, is a local option.
Yeah, imagine us walking into GCW as corny as possible with a swear jar, and that crowd just goes off on us, and we're like, no swearing, what you do? How dare? Oh, I guess that's Danhausen thing now.
And then here,
and
then here comes Schlack to kill us.
Yeah.
that's my ultimate goal, is just to show up at a place that is super hardcore, and we come out corny as hell, and then Schlack or Nick Gage comes out and murders us.
There you go. Even something like the NWA, I would absolutely love to do a promo at that desk. I love that company and what they're doing, and that is a great platform for our characters. Just places like that in general.
And Chikara for me is a thing I'd love to do. I don't know if that'll ever happen because it's tough. Like you kind of start there. It's hard to get in from the outside.
Yeah, we've always orbited Chikara. We've done some enhancement talent work. So who knows?
Yeah,
but we like to keep all the doors open.
Okay, well that's good to hear, guys, and obviously continued success. KP, you got any more questions over there, real quick?
I'm good, man. I think it was awesome. Thank you guys so much for doing this. It was great spending some time chatting wrestling with you guys.
Yeah, super appreciate it. Guys, thank you for a few minutes. Before we get out of here, always got to do the shameless promo. I know right now Pro Wrestling Tees has some amazing merch for you guys. There's 20% off right now with the code Memorial. And guys, your merch is fantastic, by the way. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you.
Well, our merch just comes from stupid ideas we have. I mean, we're roommates and we travel a lot, so we're constantly just coming up with stupid ideas.
We are as corny as our characters. We pretty much are our characters. So silly puns, dad jokes, we do it already.
We have a backlog on ideas.
Oh, yeah.
The newest shirt we have is a parody of Bad Dudes, which is a Nintendo game from 1988. Super obscure reference arcade game, but I had the idea a while back. I'm like, what if we made it Dad Dudes? And then we found a guy who was an artist, and we pitched it to him, and he's like, I love this idea. I want to make this so bad. And he made it for us. He knocked it out of the park. The skyline has Titan Towers in the background. Like, everything about it is ridiculous in the best possible 80s, 90s action movie way.
And just for reference for everybody, 3 of the 4 shirts we have on our website were designed by James Frazier, who just recently made a t-shirt for Aubrey Edwards. So if you've seen that all around AEW media, that same guy has been doing shirts for us for years now.
And it's
fantastic.
He also just did artwork for Ken Shamrock's new book that just came out.
Yeah.
So the guy is really talented, and he puts in a ton of work. He did our original design. He did our Gods of Dad Pod statue design. They're great stuff.
Yeah, couldn't recommend them enough. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I could just say I'm looking at this Dad Dudes t-shirt right now on ProWrestlingTees.com/DadDudes, and if that was an art print, like an 11x17 poster at your gimmick table, I'd buy one.
Maybe we'll get some made up.
That's definitely an option.
It'd be a fun idea to go with our 8x10s.
I think more wrestlers need to do that. Like t-shirts, like it's cool that the print's on a shirt, but sometimes it'd make a better art print that you would have on your wall.
My whole thing is there's the only thing I always dislike, nothing. It's a personal pet peeve, and I'll probably piss people off saying this. I hate when wrestlers just take their stuff and put it on like a site where it's like you could get it on a cup or a shirt or this. I'm like, how about you just make your merch and make it? But no, I love the idea of different stuff too. Like we've thought of doing. We always have stickers, coasters, magnets, bumper stickers. Yeah. We're always trying to diversify. We did mugs.
We even had little slappers where you like. Yeah,
those little hand slapping toys.
Yeah,
those.
We called them stepdad spankers, and all the little kids would take them and bother their parents with it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, you gotta. It's tough to commit to a large quantity of stuff that's different because you never know what's gonna go.
We almost had a new thing every couple of months for pretty much our whole career. So we're always getting new things. We even had glow sticks when we were Dad Generation X for a couple of shows.
That's excellent.
Oh yeah, we were throwing green glow sticks into the crowd.
Yeah,
fantastic.
We were the old age in-laws.
Right.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Oh, you didn't know?
Yo, well played, sir. Well played. That's amazing. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We always try to, support everyone we have on the show. I'll talk to you guys afterwards. I'd love to get an 8x10 made out to the show. We super appreciate it. And real quick, before I forget, where can everyone follow you guys on social media?
Facebook.com/StepdadsWrestling. Instagram, Stepdads Wrestling. Twitter, @StepdadsWrestle.
Yeah, that one's different.
That one's different. We also have, if anybody actually cares, TikTok, @StepdadsWrestling.
Huh?
And Patreon.com/StepdadsWrestling. And as you mentioned, our ProWrestlingTees.com/Stepdads.
Yep.
Also, when you look these up, Stepdads Wrestling is all one word. We don't want any weird things happening.
Do not search Stepdads Wrestling with a space in between.
No.
You get really weird fetish results.
Mommy and Daddy will not like that, kids. Don't do that. But Stepdads Wrestling, all one word. We guarantee you'll find it on every platform.
And if you care about my things outside of wrestling, I'm at Twitter, Wade Kreuger 1. I mostly post about being angry about the Devils or being angry about humanity, or really just terrible memes. I'm less interesting, probably. Unless you don't care about wrestling, then follow me. I'm the more interesting one in that regard.
Or if you like Drag Race, he's a big fan.
Yeah, I do post a lot about Drag Race.
That's right.
So there's that as well.
We did make a cameo in Dragnificent a couple weeks ago, so that was cool.
That's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Nice.
We have the weirdest fan base. Like, there's multiple people from Broadway who own Stepdad shirts. I'm followed by like a couple baseball players on Twitter. I don't know how this happened. It's a very weird world we live in.
Fantastic, though. Fantastic.
That's awesome, guys. And on a real serious note, I always try to say this, we're using this downtime, us creatives over here, to do the best we can. We love the indie wrestling scene. It was an absolute honor talking to you guys. I super appreciate it. I really believe, when the world goes back to normal, when this thing's eradicated or cured or whatever it is, I feel like that first pitch, man, like that first kickoff, that first, time that bell rings, when you step through the ropes, I think it's just going to be that much better. Is there anything you guys kind of want to say to the fans, for when we get back to normal or anything like that?
Just support indie wrestling. I mean, there's so many, it's never been easier to support and get your hands on it. As someone who grew up earlier when all you could do was find DVDs maybe online through trading with people, I mean, there's full websites devoted to different companies where it's all put together and you could watch anything you want. Like, there's wrestling for everybody. There's just like there's pizza for everybody. This is to steal from my man Dan Scotti at Pizza Party Wrestling. Just like there's a pizza for everybody, there's wrestling for everybody. And it's never been easier to get your hands on whatever different topping you prefer.
Absolutely. There's more than one way to enjoy wrestling. Wrestling is an art form. There are many ways to do it, and the great thing about independent wrestling is that you can find your brand of independent wrestling somewhere online, be it some of the service streams out there, some YouTube channels, anything like that. As someone who didn't have any wrestling at all in Las Vegas until I was, I think, like 19, 20, some NWA shows happened. Other than that, I craved that kind of stuff, and now it's more available than ever. And even during this pandemic, it's always super corny that we say without the fans we wouldn't be here. It's absolutely true, and right now a lot of wrestlers need that help through Patreon, through even just getting their names out there, keeping them alive in their thoughts for when we come back. And I really do think things will explode and be bigger than ever. And that's an exciting thought. I cannot wait for that. And I know Wade's the same way. We can't wait to get back to wrestling.
And if you do have a favorite wrestler and you're thinking about getting merch from them, there's never been a better time to do it. You would literally be helping people out through a terrible time where they can't do their art. Wrestling's art, and it sucks to not be able to perform it.
Yeah, it means more than ever for them to get those paychecks now. It really does matter to them right now more than ever.
Beautiful. As you know, guys, the Stepdads, they care, as always. The best Stepdads in the world. Guys, thank you so much for a few minutes. On a personal note, I know I had heard you guys mention that you are essential workers. I super appreciate that, what you guys do outside the ring as well as inside, and I appreciate a few minutes of your time. Thank you guys so much, and continued success moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, gentlemen, we are out. Peace.